I'm her son.
I'm Sam Bell. That's my mom.
And I'm Scott Bell. I'm the dad.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Bell, and this is my personal storyboard. This is my entire story, and this is a personal story titled "The Day We Thought We Were Going to Get Shot in El Salvador." So back in the spring of 2013, we went to vacation, spring break. We went to Carpinteria State Park. We met up with some friends, some family friends, and we're on the beach, and they start telling us about how they're going to take a summer trip to El Salvador. And we're kind of teasing around. We're like, yeah, we'll go with you. And they're like, yeah, why don't you come? And we're like, okay, yay, we're going to El Salvador. So we buy the tickets, and about 2 weeks before we leave on our trip, the U.S. Embassy puts out a travel alert saying that San Salvador is the second most dangerous city in the world. And we were a little bit nervous, but we kind of joked around, and we're like, well, what's the first, Detroit? No, it's Los Angeles. We're kind of joking around, but we're still a little bit nervous. My husband thought, well, maybe we'll just get our money back for the tickets. And we're like, no, we're going to do this thing. We're going on this trip. So our friends take off about a week early, and they go there so they could buy a van that'll fit about 11 people. And we have the 11 people, and we have bags everywhere. And we named the van Miss Piggy. So they pick us up from the airport one night, and our plan was to go back to their cousin's house, and we were going to start our trip the next day. But on the way to the cousin's house, Miss Piggy starts giving us troubles. And we completely lost our transmission, so we couldn't stop at stop signs, and we couldn't even turn left. So the entire time trying to get to the cousin's house, we had to go in circles to the right. We eventually make it back to the cousin's house, kind of in a roundabout way. But the next day, we get the van fixed by a friend, and we start our journey. And as we're driving, we're looking around how beautiful El Salvador is. But everywhere we look, there's guards with guns everywhere they're standing, whether it be a gas station or even a daycare. So we're like, okay, El Salvador. So Miss Piggy starts giving us trouble again, and we break down in this small town. But luckily, we're close enough to this hotel, so I think we push the van into the hotel parking lot, and there's like a guard out front with a gun, and they close the gate and they lock us in, and we're like, okay. But the craziest thing was we were the only ones at this hotel. And there's like 10 of us, and we're like staying room by room, right beside to each other, which is really good. So we all got hungry, go for dinner, we walk around town. And as we're walking around town, it was beautiful. We're noticing how great it is. But everywhere we looked, people would stop and they would stare at us. And we're like, okay, this is El Salvador. Kind of a little weird. But both my kids have really blonde hair and blue eyes, Scandinavian. So they kind of did stick out like a sore thumb. So we had a great dinner, and we even did some shopping and went around town. And then we go back to the hotel, and we're having a good time. Went over to our friend's hotel where we're playing some games. We had a really good time, and we go back to our room. But before we did, our friend's like, oh, wait, there's something I really want to tell you. But I forgot. I'll just tell you tomorrow. And we're like, okay. So we all go to bed. And at 4:41 in the morning, I remember the time, like it was yesterday, we hear a sound that sends a chill up and down our spine. And it sounds like a double-barrel shotgun emptying its contents, like chick-chick-pow, chick-chick-pow. My husband and I wake up, and I'm like, is that gunshots? And he's like, yeah, I really think so, because I think someone took down the guard at the gate, and they're coming for us. And he's walking around, he's looking for something to defend us with. And luckily, the kids are sleeping through this. And we're walking around, still looking, and my son wakes up, and he's like, I have to go to the bathroom. We're like, no, you can't. Because if we opened the door to the bathroom, there was a light on underneath it, and it would fill the room with light, and then the bad guys would see us, and they'd come for us. So I drink an entire bottle of water, and I hand him the bottle. I'm like, go to the bathroom in this, and he's looking at us, and he's like, what? And we're like, don't ask questions. So he goes to the bathroom, and he goes back to sleep, luckily. And so my husband and I are still walking around. We hear the noise again. And it's so loud, and it's so close, and we're wondering, oh my gosh, but we don't hear any screaming going on, which was kind of strange. And then we're thinking, oh my gosh, we're such bad friends. Maybe they're taking down our friends. And we're still looking around for something to defend ourselves. And my husband finally said, maybe you shouldn't walk around in front of the window. So we're like, that's a good idea. Let's sit on the floor. So we sit on the floor, and my daughter wakes up. And she's like, why are you guys sitting on the floor? And so years later, though, she tells the story. And she's like, and my mom and dad were hiding under the bed. We really weren't hiding under the bed. But she goes back to sleep, luckily, and then we hear the sound again. But luckily, it was just a little bit further away. And we're like, well, maybe they're moving on. maybe they didn't find anybody. Since we didn't hear any screaming, that was a good sign. And right at that time, we look up at the window, and it's like 6 o'clock in the morning at this time, and we see a shadow come by the window. And we hear a little knock on the door. And it was our friend Oscar. And we're like, Oscar, oh my God, did you hear the gunshots? And he kind of starts laughing, and we're like, oh my God, why are you laughing? And he's like, oh no, those weren't gunshots, that was fireworks. He goes, remember that thing I forgot to tell you? He said, they send off fireworks in the morning to wake up the farmers so they can go to work in the morning. And of course, my husband and I look at each other and we're like, Oscar! Yeah, that would have been really good information. But at any rate, we didn't get shot. We had the best family vacation, driving through El Salvador and Guatemala for the next 2 weeks with our friends from El Salvador.
Woo! Good job! Yay!